it is like grasping a whole hand of sands. The tighter you hold it, more sands will fall out of the gaps of your finger. Right? The more like you really, really want it to work. I desperately want my relationship to work.
When you want something to work, how often does it come from yourself that you want to work on yourself and say, I want this thing to work because I need to change, as opposed to say, I want this thing to work, I'm placing this on an external factor, external object, or another person to make it work. I think when people say they want something, is this something that a change needs to happen from within, or an external environmental change that come and fit the person?
Yeah, I think what you were saying is about you contributing the success factors on external factors rather than having change within yourself to make things work. I think a lot of times it's true, but I think my personal problem is actually not that. I'm very good at compromising. I'm very good at sacrificing myself to make things work. That's another extreme. That's another extreme. Because I want it so much. I can sacrifice so much. I can even lose myself, even though I don't want to, right? And that is common on a lot of people, not only me. So I had reflections on this specific point. What I realized, why am I so desperate, want this thing to work? Is it because that person is a perfect match for me? Is it because this one true love I ever had in my whole life? The answer is negative. The answer is negative, right? It was because I am afraid of being alone. I don't like being with myself. I don't enjoy my own company enough. So I always searching for that hole in me. I want to place it, right? So when I have something now, I do not want to risk it, to losing this placement in my heart, to start a journey again, because it's tiring. It takes so much effort, right? It can be another heartbreak, right? It takes time to heal. It takes time to start again.
That kind of brings us back to, I think, the point I just sort of made, which is about, are you willing to change? You are willing to continue the path that you're on. And the change, I think the very definition of change is sort of going against the direction now you were heading towards, to a different direction. So whilst you were willing to compromise, you were still being you. Yeah. And what you needed to do was be a different version of you that perhaps love yourself even more.
Correct. That's exactly what I learned. Right now, yes, I enjoy what I have right now. Obviously, I cherish it. And I would be willing to make the compromise if needed. But it has to be mutual too. Yeah. And it has to come deep from my heart that I want to do it because I'm willing to, not because I'm afraid of losing it. Yeah. That shouldn't be the right reason. The right reason is this change. I'm willing to do this change because I want to do it for my own benefit, for both people's sake, yes, of course, but for my own benefit too. And I should love myself enough, and myself is enough, right? Myself is enough. I have to always tell myself this in order not to lose myself in a relationship, because it's really, really easy, right? It's really easy to be absorbed in it, to everything circling around this, right? But what I learned is have your own space. Very important. Give your partner their space. Very important. That is sustainable from a long-term point of view. You always have curiosity towards each other. Yeah. You have that kind of fresh perspectives. Also, you try to grow with each other. That's like something now what I see as a relationship. It's not without hardship. It's not without change. It's with hardship, with change, but with a stronger self.
That's a very interesting observation. I think with me not being a massive fan of PDAs is that I think the essence of a relationship is about two people going on a journey together, because you have a common goal. There's a place that you want to end up. Maybe, you know, that just being where you are.
Yeah.
Maybe that's about how you maybe want to help the other person help you to achieve a particular dream. And it's a journey that requires action. Ultimately, what makes you really happy?
Yeah. What makes you really happy?
Yeah, it could relationship is just one of them.
Correct.
And unfortunately, as it is, you know, relationship is a part of your life, and there are many more things that are out there that's worth pursuing, that are meaningful. And I think that the bottom line is to find the perfect balance between, you know, your aspirations for a relationship and your aspiration for your own life, and perhaps creating meaning. Maybe, you know, it's contributing to society. There's so many things that's out there that I think, you know, comes back down to why we're doing this podcast in the first place. Is you know, sharing our vulnerabilities, sharing our thoughts and experiences, not to, you know, show off per se. It's more about get these conversations started, and we're just part of it. We're just a part of a much larger conversation that out there.
Yeah, we 100%. I think it's more about connecting with others. Is to show our vulnerability, not just for the sake of showing it. It was more like part of a genuine conversation that can spread this idea of it's okay to just be yourself, and yourself is enough, and we'll be more than happy to hear other people's opinions. Doesn't have to agree with us.
In fact, better
if it's disagreeing with us.
We'll want disagreements, because I think what tend to happen is, I mean, we live, let's say, you know, relatively cushy life, and what that tends to draw is a bit of echo chamber.
Correct.
That people around us would agree with us on pretty much all of our thoughts and opinions, and I think that's a problem in itself. And one of the tasks I think in life is to be able to be able to disagree with people and learn from them and take on their perspective. And I think that's the only way for you to stretch your limits and expand your horizon and imagination.
Yeah, and you don't have to agree with everything. Like in relationship, you always have healthy discussions, argument, which maybe the result is not you convince me or I convince you. It's not like you are wrong, I'm right. It was more about agree on disagreements, right? Yes, we have different thoughts. We might even have different values, but it's okay, right? It depends on the priorities, depends on what you value the most.
For sure, yeah. Of course, there will be times where it makes you doubt, like, you know, if this person is a UKIP voter, I am a Labour voter. Yeah, probably you're going to have a lot of problems in life. But so long as the priority is the most important things in life, that allows us to mingle together, heading towards the same direction. I think healthy disagreements actually binds two people closer.
Correct. So you also, I think one sign of open-mindedness, like Ray Dalio wrote in The Principle, is also about being as an open-minded person. It's not about having just your own opinion. It's about you are able to hold different opinions in your head.
Conflicting opinions. What we said earlier today is about the contradicting ideas that you would have in your head.
Correct.
And I think one of the quotes was, I don't know, it's Richard Feynman or someone else said, all formulas are wrong, but some of them are useful.
Yeah, well, completely agree.